Yo, what is going on, guys? It's your boy Seso here, bringing a cool Illustrator tutorial here today, bringing you guys how to make your own cool custom signatures, or even just custom text for even thumbnails or something like that. I actually used this kind of like tutorial for like the thumbnail that I used for today's tutorial. Like it says like custom and like a different text or whatever. I think it's pretty cool to just show you guys how to do something like that. Overall, like if you don't know what like really signatures are, it can just be something like you can brand yourself with, or if like you don't have a logo or you don't want to spend money on a logo or whatever like that. You just want to have like something like just like for anything like little rebrand kind of things you do if you tweet them on social media or put them anywhere on kind of any social media, but you just want to tag your design with something that you know that person, whoever's looking at it, knows that it's yours. Signature is a really cool way of doing that, as well as a logo, whatever you're going to use or whatever, just besides like writing your name or whatever. So I think it's pretty cool to have some kind of like brand or some kind of like stamp of approval that it's from you, and this is a pretty cool tutorial for that kind of stuff, as well as making some really cool custom text for your thumbnails. Overall, it's a pretty cool little thing. I did this like about like 2 years ago, and it's just kind of like a different way of doing it. Overall, I just really think I did like really weird. Of course, when you look at yourself at a work ethic like 2 years ago, me as well, like it was just completely like terrible. I don't know why I don't even know. Anyway, so guys, let's get going right in here. I actually have a sketch of just like the word creative in just 3 different ways here, just to show you guys there's like different ways you can obviously write whatever. I mean, if you're writing your name, if you're writing whatever you're writing, like for a text for a thumbnail, just please go with it. Just like it's just not really that hard at all. I just wrote this, and like I'm probably gonna use this one as an example though. But you see, I just wrote this one. Pretty standard, really. I had nothing crazy. I just like combined the E and the A or whatever. Really odd looking R or whatever. But you know, it's like this is obviously crazy, like compacted. More like I would say like graffiti kind of thing. I don't know. I would go for, and this is just more something like very like I don't know like hip. I almost said hipster. Like just very like I don't know how like maybe boxy, not really boxy, like very technical, like technology kind of like thing. You would look at that as, I don't know. But you can see I have just 3 different simple styles that I did in like 2 minutes. There's no time at all, and it's something you can just do yourself. And of course, if you want to write your name in a different cool way, no matter what, nobody can really steal that from you, because that's of course your handwriting, your way of thinking of how you draw that word or whatever. So I'm gonna take you guys on like a simple little video here to show you guys how to take your picture of your sketch or whatever, and just put it in Illustrator as best as you can, while also just making some really cool brushes if you guys wish to make some really cool custom brushes just to make your signature or your text just a little bit more different than anyone else's. So yeah, let's get going on today's video. Don't forget, guys, 200 likes on the video equals a secret down below, and I do hope you guys enjoy your Monday, all that cool stuff. So let's get going right now. Alright, cool. So pretty much I already have this picture here, right? I told you I was going to use this one for the example. So I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger really quick. Alright, just so I can do this right. Now, I would suggest to just take your brush at first. So I'm going to make a new layer. I'm going to take my brush here, which is B in my keyboard for the shortcut, for the paint brush tool. And we're just going to make sure we only have our stroke fill. So if you guys are really new to Illustrator, basically the stroke fill is what you guys like really need to actually show what you're drawing on your brush here. So you don't have to have this fill in, like the regular fill in. You just take this little X thing or whatever, this one little red dash, just click that. That way there's no fill and only just a stroke. And of course, if you want to do the same thing for the stroke for future references, you can just do the same exact thing with that. And then of course, to change the color, you can just double click on either box of whatever fill you're trying to use, and then pretty much you can just change the color by just moving your simple little color picker here, pressing OK, and then you're good to go. So the only things I really think you really need to have up right now is at least your stroke tab. If you don't have your stroke tab up, it's in Windows, stroke. That's all you really need to have right now, just for like the demonstration I'm using right now. So pretty much, I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna try and draw the this font here, or this text here, this word creative, and the most like clean way I can with the brush, with my mouse. I'm not using a mouse pad, or what is it called? I'm not using a oh my goodness, what is it called? Oh my gosh, the tablets. There we go. Yeah, drawing tablets. I'm not using one of those. Just using my mouse. It's something simple. I know I can like do something really nice and controlled, something like that, right? I'm just gonna basically trace what I just did before. That way, it's a little more cleaner, and just like overall a little more easier to like pen tool out. Something like that, right? Something like this. That's awkward. That'll do. The V and then the E, right? Just something like that, right? So if I just uncheck the picture, now we have our word here. I can just put my width up a little bit if I want to have it more thicker. And I'm just gonna move this a little bit, you know, I'm just trying to make sure I have this to just go off from, right? This is nothing else, just to go off from this. Here we go. Alright, cool, right? Now we have this here. Now pretty much what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lock this layer. After, I'll probably just move this a little bit though over, that way it's not completely hard to see where the E and the R starts. Just like so. That'll do for now, right? That'll just do for now. So pretty much I just want to trace it with the brush. That way it's just a little more cleaner than just having like a picture or whatever. But now I can just take another new layer right now and take the pen tool, which is P on your keyboard this time. And then pretty much I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to take off the fill for now. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pen tool and I'm just going to try and trace over what I just did with the brush now. And now this is the part where it's just going to be more like tedious work. I know you could have probably done this immediately, but I just like doing it, you know, once, you know, twice, because you might not know if you really want the kind of curve that you have or whatever kind of accent that you want as, like, you know, the main like accent for the word or your font or whatever. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say I want something like that or whatever, right? So that's for this C. Okay, that's pretty good. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna make sure I click on this little circle here. That's where the path is right now in this layer here. And I'm gonna turn back on my fill. And I'm just gonna hide this for a second just to show you guys. I'm gonna put my width up. Here we go. I'm gonna change my caps to rounded as well as my corners to rounded. And then pretty much I'm just gonna have this fixed here. Just like so. And then there's my cool little C here. And now pretty much the only thing you have to know how to do this is actually using the pen tool. And the pen tool is not as hard as it, like, I don't know, everyone makes it seem. It's hard to get used to, I would say. But, like, overall, it's not that hard to get, like, right into it and, like, actually do something pretty cool with it. So, all I have to do, really, is I'll just do the R right now, right? If I'm going to do the R, I'm going to go ahead and I'll just make a new layer just because I want to. And I'm going to go ahead and just click. And then pretty much to click and drag to make a nice little curve here, right? When you make a curve or whenever you make like another point of the path here, you will have two extended points. You can just use Control and then you can move them just freely, of course, if you want to get more controlled curves or whatever. Now I'm going to do a curve for this little R part up top here. So I'm going to click. I'm going to go ahead and just do this. That'll look good for that, right? And I'm just going to go ahead, move that there. And I know I'm closing the path every single time. If you can do that as well, I'm just closing the path, which means when I click and I finish it, I'm holding Control and I'm clicking off the path. That way it closes it, and I can do another little line here if I wanted to, and just keep on continuing just like that. And if I just hide this for a second, now we have a nice little R here as well, and with the C here, and now we're getting somewhere, right? It's more cleaner with the pen tool. Of course, it's a little bit easier if you don't have a tablet or whatever. You don't really need one. If you have a pen tool, you're good to go as well. So yeah, that's kind of like why I wrote up my brush first as well, just to make sure I have that me factor quote in it, like just so I know I did this. How I'm trying to say here. I use the brush so that I can keep my expressions on my letters. Sure, we'll go with that. We'll make that seem like that's what I went for. All right, so pretty much I'm gonna go ahead and finish this off really quickly. So I'm just gonna make a new layer for each letter, just because I want to make sure I keep it all clean and nice, right? I'm gonna, like here, I have this little part with the E. I'm gonna hold Control. I'm gonna click off. And I'm going to click where I want to start this little endpoint for the other E, right, the extension or whatever. And I'm going to just go like this and like that, right? And I'm just going to hold Control again. Just going to click, do something like that, hold Control again, and then do something like that. Let's see what our E looks like. And we'll just fix this. If you press A on your keyboard, it gives you guys the option to get the directions, direct select tool. This will just allow you to click on the path, highlight where the 2 points are. You can see where the points are. You can click, and then you can just drag them just so you can make sure that everything is as perfect as you can get it. Just like so. Alright, that's pretty cool. I'm just using the arrow keys now. There we go. So that's our E, right? Let's go for our A now. We'll just go ahead and just use the pen tool here. Nice little curve there. I'm going to just use a nice little curve here as well. I'm going to hide this again. I'm going to see what our A looks like. It looks pretty good. Yeah, just like so. Alright, there we go. And then for the TIV, it's just simple stuff here. I did not make a new layer for the EA. Whoops. It doesn't really matter too much. I can just move it if I wish to. But here's the T. I'm just going to put it all in one just because. Here's the I. The V will look something like this, I guess. What does all this look like right now? Pretty good. like so, and then the E. Probably one of the hardest things for me to do with the pen tool is make a lowercase e. For whatever reason, I just cannot do it. I'm not the best at it. Here, let's see what that looks like. It's not terrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible. Just want to make sure I get it nice and good looking. All right, cool. So pretty much now that I have all this done, by the way, I moved the entire selection by using V on my keyboard, which is actually the selection tool, so I can just click on something and not bring up the points. I can move the entire thing and not move one point at a time, which is very handy, of course. So yeah, here, pretty much I have my creative text now all pretty much done here. It looks pretty cool. It's just I just basically took my my sketch, right, that I have. I'm just going to hide this really quickly. I took my sketch, made it to life. I brought it to a nice vector. That way we have a nice little clean, like I guess a base to start off with. Now, pretty much I use the pen tool because there's multiple things you can do with the pen tool now, and there's multiple different things you can do to actually make your signature look more, I guess, unique or whatever. So pretty much, if I use the A tool, which is the direction selection tool, right? If I highlight the entire thing, which highlights all these layers for us, you can see up here, this is where it says profile and stuff. This is your profiles for what your I guess your stroke can make it look like. So we can have like very boxy kind of like things like this, which looks kind of weird, I guess, with the kind of like breaks that I had here. Like kind of like I had like 4 different, you know, selection paths for the E, so it kind of looks really weird for that. But for the other things, like the R looks pretty cool, the V looks pretty cool, stuff like that. That's a cool profile. And now all these profiles, by the way, are just the presets in Illustrator. This one's pretty cool. It's kind of like, you know, making it from very thick to a thin. Like this one's pretty cool. I don't know, just different ones, just different looks of things. But you can actually make your own as well. Very simply, all you gotta do is either use like one of these shapes or whatever, either the rectangle or the round or the ellipse. I would just go use the rounded for now, just to show you guys. And now when you do this, you just want to basically click, right? I'm gonna make sure I only have the fill selected. So the fill is the first one. It's the one in the front. So we're gonna make sure our stroke path or our stroke color fill-in is not on, so it's on none. And we're gonna make sure that our fill is on. And there we go. We only have our fill selected now. So pretty much what you can do with this is you can just basically make the thickness of your brush here. This is basically your brush stroke. This is what your profile of the text or whatever you use with the pen tool is gonna look like. So right now I have a simple, like simple brush stroke, you would call it, right? And I can do some different things. There's this nice little tab here where you can just get these cool little simple, like I don't know, it's like effects that are very odd to use for this kind of like style. Just so you can know that you can do it though. You can just like use like the wrinkle tool or whatever, and they can just click and go through the entire selection, right, of this cool little path here. If we highlight this and we go to, or we select it and we go to here, this is another like kind of like a profile thing, but this is more for like, you know, how the brush is gonna be like constructed, I guess. So when you have something cool like this, you can pretty much just click on this new brush here, and then you want to just select where it says select a new brush type. You want to click art brush, and you want to press OK. Now what this is gonna do for you is you can name the art brush whatever you guys want. You can press OK. But now, besides having like a basic line here, right? Let's just like make another path really quickly. We're gonna delete this. We're gonna use the pen tool just to make a simple, nice stroke again. We're gonna go ahead and just click on it, or highlight it actually, and we can see that this is basic, right? This is all the basic ones, and then we have the one that we just made as well. And there you guys go. You can see it'll actually make that cool little, that kind of like profile of that like brush that you just made with the wrinkle tool. So it looks pretty cool at that. I think it's a pretty cool little thing you can do. Another thing you can do is, let's just go ahead and go back to using the, actually we'll use the stroke tool again, or the pen tool again, really quickly. Let's just use that. Simple width, right? Nice little simple stroke right here. Now what you can also do is the Shift W tool, the width tool. It's a pretty cool little tool here. It's probably one I use the most when I'm using Illustrator now. Pretty much you can make something like this, right? You can say like we want things to do from bigger to smaller, and in the middle we want to have like this very skinny like look to it or whatever. That's a cool little profile there. Now what you can do when you use a path, or when you use the pen tool to actually make the little your new profile, I guess you can say, you can now select and hover over it, and now you can just go to profile here, and you can drop this down, and you can add to profiles here. So if I press this, I just name whatever I want to name it, or you can just don't name it at all. You can just press OK. You also have a new profile here, besides the custom ones or the default ones. So pretty much I can just hover over my text really quickly, And let's say I wanted to use this profile, right? We went through this before. Looks pretty cool. And now we can also use the one we just made, which is something like this. I don't know, it's just very awkward. I don't know, this looks actually pretty cool for like some kind of like a, I don't know, for some title or some kind of like banner of some sort of, let's make it look pretty, this is very unique looking text here. So that's something else you can do. So pretty much what you can do as well is actually make your, if you want to say you want to keep your signature, your text, or whatever you're doing for, you know, whatever you're doing it for. Let's say you want to keep it like nice and clean, or just nice and thick, just something like thick and visible like this, and nothing like crazy out of the blue or whatever with the profiles that you just made. You can also use the Shift W tool, just basically like making some very odd, not very odd, but I would say just very like, you know, like little, how would you call it? Like when you like paint, kind of like a paintbrush kind of thing. So if you're using like a paintbrush, this is kind of like a style you would go for. You would see like these little more skinnier areas than like thicker or whatever. At the end of them, you can use the Shift W tool, right? The width tool. You can click on the end point of the path here, make the R's like a little more thicker. You can just take the E, right? You can make it a little more smaller going inward, right? Just these very little things you can do that make it look better, or just more like written wise, right? Not just so thick and like simple, like you just obviously pen tooled it, right? Something like this. You can just take this, right, and make it a little bit thicker there. Let's do something like this as well. Let's sit like that. I don't know, just something like that. I don't know, it looks very weird, but of course, I'm just trying to show you guys some just different things you can do with the whole little making your own cool signature stuff. So, of course, whatever you do, it's gonna look obviously a lot different than mine because you don't have the same handwriting as me or whatever. You don't have the same like mind as mine. You might have a cooler thought of how to make, you know, your V's or your T's or whatever. No matter what, it's gonna come up pretty gosh darn cool, I think. And of course, I can just make some little expressions, right? I can do something like this. I'm gonna shrink this a little bit though. Just do something like that for the V, right? Just put some very odd expressions in it a little bit. And we'll do something like that. We'll just make the V go through the T. We can make the R go like all the way around if we wanted to. With this very cool, like very big end of the R, make it look pretty nice. As well as, we can do other things like, I did this in my last, hold on. Why is this like that? I want to make it a little more skinnier. Alright, cool. In my last signature tutorial, what I showed you guys how to do as well is if I made a new layer and I wanted to do these like cool, like, how would you call them? Like these very just odd like lines just to put around, right? We just follow the outside area. We make this a little bit more thicker, right? And we just put these cool little lines around it just to make it look, I guess, a little bit more cooler. Do something like this, something like that. Something like this. Right? And then maybe like this. And like that. Alright, cool. That's pretty cool, whatever. Right? And now with also doing this now, if I just highlight all of them or click on with shift click, make the width a little bit more bigger. If I use the Shift W tool, the width tool here, just to make a little more different accents, like make it skinnier there, make it go skinnier in here as well, and then skinnier is here as well. Kind of like follow that kind of like that trend that we got going on. Boom. Right? It looks pretty cool. It's just a very odd thing to do. I don't know. I've just seen a lot of people doing it. They've probably seen like graffiti, just like having these cool surrounding, just like little expression kind of things. And it looks pretty cool as well. So of course you also just use a brush and click once. Let's just like use this. Or we can just use the pen tool and click once and then make it a little bit, the width a little bit bigger. Right? Why is it not working? You're not working for me. I'm not sure why that's not working. But like if you just want to make like click on this like click on it like with a dot with a pen tool, or just if your brush, my brush isn't even working either. I don't know why it's doing that. But pretty much you can just make a little dots here on the outsides, make it look pretty cool. Oh, that's why I'm using a different profile, right? Let's just use this, right? And then click. There we go. Now we have a dot here. That's what I meant to do. And here we go. Do something like that, right? It looks pretty cool. You can put them on the endpoints of each one or whatever. I just held Alt to duplicate it. And then pretty much, yeah, we have something like that. So that's pretty cool. I don't know. I hope I guys like showed you guys something really cool to do. I'm going to be using this kind of stuff. I'm going to be using this as well, like this kind of like how I'm doing things right now. This is kind of like a thinking process I'm going to be using to like make some really cool different kind of like thumbnail text. Besides just using fonts and stuff, I just want to be different a little bit, and hope you guys you will too. So I really do hope you guys enjoyed today's tutorial. I have a pretty cool banner tutorial coming on this Friday, so I hope you guys enjoy that as well. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week until my next video on Friday. See you guys later, so switch you out, and peace.